Chosen one, lock your attention on my voice right now. Silence the thought that says your efforts are invisible, because the strength and wisdom you have been carrying are speaking louder than you realize. Maybe the last 72 hours have felt strangely quiet. You may have walked into a room this week and noticed people watching you without saying much. Perhaps someone asked for your advice, repeated something you said, or trusted your judgment when you assumed they barely noticed you. Or maybe you have been sitting alone at night, exhausted in your bones, wondering whether anyone understands how much you have had to overcome just to remain steady. You might not see it, but your restraint has been noticed. Your discipline has been noticed. Your discipline has been noticed. The way you keep moving without announcing every battle has been noticed. The enemy is working overtime right now for one reason. Your character is becoming undeniable, and the influence connected to your wisdom is beginning to rise. People are not only admiring what you accomplish, they are studying how you remain grounded while carrying what would have broken them. This is not the season where your strength stays hidden. Within the next 24 hours, the confusion around your value begins to lose its power. The need to prove yourself, the ache of being overlooked, and the doubt about whether your choices matter are coming to an end. And listen carefully, it is not ending because someone finally decided to validate you. It is ending because you have already become the evidence. Think back to that moment this week when you could have reacted, exposed someone, or defended yourself, but you chose wisdom instead. Maybe you walked away from an argument. Maybe you refused to explain yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. Perhaps you kept working when nobody applauded. You thought that silence meant you were losing your voice, but that silence revealed your maturity. You thought walking away meant you lacked power, but walking away proved you had power under control. You did not become invisible. You became impossible to manipulate. You did not find this message by accident. The algorithm did not bring you here alone. Let this be a divine appointment, a moment of spiritual confirmation, reminding you that what God has developed in you is now preparing to be recognized through you. In the next few minutes, I am going to reveal why people are drawn to your strength even when they do not openly compliment you. I am going to expose the lie that has made you question your wisdom. And before this message ends, you will receive a declaration that helps you stop shrinking to make others comfortable. Do not click away. Your future self needs you to understand the difference between being overlooked and being prepared. If you leave too soon, you may return to the old habit of measuring your worth by applause, attention, or immediate results. This is a pivotal moment because the version of you that needed everyone to approve is losing authority over your life. Most chosen ones feel the fire of a message like this for a few hours, and then the doubt returns. The silence gets louder. The old insecurity tries to take control again. The inner sanctum is designed to help you wake up every morning to a fresh prophetic word from God before the world speaks into your identity. The link is in the first pinned comment. It will not remain available forever, and neither will every window of spiritual clarity. Now listen closely. In this quiet season, the enemy has been whispering a specific lie. He has been telling you that if people do not praise you openly, they must not value you. He has been replaying the moments when your work went unrecognized, when someone took your idea, when you helped others rise but felt forgotten when it was your turn. He wants you to believe that your lack of recognition is proof of a lack of significance, but that is not the truth. Proverbs 3:13 says, "Blessed is the one who finds wisdom, the one who gains understanding." Wisdom is not measured by how loudly people celebrate you. It is measured by the fruit it produces in your decisions, your relationships, your peace, and your ability to remain aligned when pressure demands that you compromise. And Matthew 5:16 says, "Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." That is the decree over this season. Your light does not need to beg for attention. It only needs permission to remain visible. The right people are already noticing. The right doors are already responding. The right conversations are already forming around the evidence of who you have become. Your strength is not merely surviving hardship, it is the wisdom you gain without allowing hardship to make you cruel. Your wisdom is not merely knowing what to do, it is knowing what not to say, where not to return, and which battles are beneath your assignment. The heaviness you feel is not proof that you are forgotten. It may be the weight of becoming ready for greater responsibility. You are not behind, you are not unnoticed. You are not disqualified because recognition took time. You're becoming undeniable, and soon the same people who underestimated your quietness will recognize the authority in your restraint. The same ones who thought your patience was weakness will understand that you are building something they could not see. What you do is impressive, not because you perform for admiration, but because you continue to choose wisdom when no one is watching. Your strength and wisdom have become undeniable, even if you have not yet heard the words you've been waiting for. The verdict is simple: you were never lacking value. You are learning to stop demanding proof from people who were not assigned to recognize you. Before we go any deeper, if this message is speaking directly to your season, take a moment to explore the ebook linked in the description. It was created to help you understand your spiritual identity, recognize the patterns that have been shaping your life, and move forward with greater clarity and alignment. Read it slowly, not as information, but as confirmation of what God has already been awakening within you. Let each page become a mirror, not one that reflects the wounds you have carried, but one that reveals the person God has been patiently forming beneath them. Sometimes confirmation does not arrive as a dramatic sign. Sometimes it comes as a quiet sentence that suddenly gives language to what your spirit has known for years. Because what people admire in you is often the very thing you have learned to overlook. They see the way you remain composed when everything around you is unstable. They see how you think clearly under pressure, how you make wise decisions without needing applause, how you carry responsibilities that would have crushed someone else. They see how you enter difficult rooms and somehow bring order to the atmosphere. They notice that people come to you when they need truth, direction, or calm, even when you are privately asking God for strength to make it through your own day. But you may not recognize it because strength became normal to you. Wisdom became survival. Endurance became your daily language. You learned to keep going before anyone taught you how to rest. You learned to become dependable because there were times when depending on others left you disappointed. You learned to read the room because the room was not always safe. You learned to solve problems quickly because hesitation had consequences. And now the very qualities that were born in difficult places are being admired in places you never expected to reach. Yet instead of seeing growth, you may only see the scars that made growth necessary. You stopped calling it remarkable because you had to do it so often. And this is where the deeper revelation begins. Sometimes the chosen one does not recognize their own elevation because they are still measuring themselves by the pain they had to survive. You look at your life and see the nights you cried, the doors that closed, the people who misunderstood you, the seasons when you had to make decisions with no support. You remember the rejection more clearly than the resilience. You remember who walked away more vividly than how God sustained you after they left. You remember the wilderness, but you have not yet allowed yourself to acknowledge that you crossed it. But heaven sees something else. Heaven sees the character that was formed in the hidden place. Heaven sees the prayers whispered when you had no energy left for beautiful words. Heaven sees the integrity you maintained when nobody would have known if you compromised. Heaven sees the private victories, the moments when you chose not to return evil for evil, not to become bitter, not to let disappointment turn your heart into stone. What you call merely surviving, heaven may call preparation. David did not look like a king while he was tending sheep. He looked forgotten. He looked far away from influence. He was not sitting in a palace surrounded by advisors. He was in the field, surrounded by ordinary tasks, watching over sheep, while someone else received the invitation to the important gathering. Yet the field was not proof that he had been overlooked. It was the training ground where his courage, discernment, and authority were developed without an audience. Every lion and bear he faced became evidence that hidden battles can prepare you for public responsibility. The same thing may be true of you. The years that felt invisible were not empty. The season in which nobody celebrated you was not a season in which God ignored you. You were learning how to hear without noise, how to lead without recognition, how to remain faithful when the reward was delayed. The quiet years were adding weight to your spirit. They were shaping the part of you that people now cannot ignore. There are things that can only be formed away from applause. Patience cannot be rushed. Discernment is often born through disappointment. Compassion is deepened when you have known loneliness. Authority becomes trustworthy when it has first learned obedience. The hidden place may feel like a burial ground, but in the hands of God it is often a womb. Seeds disappear beneath the soil before they rise as something visible. Your disappearance was not necessarily your destruction. It may have been your preparation for emergence. But here is where it goes deeper. You cannot fully receive recognition from others while still rejecting the evidence of your own growth. If every compliment makes you uncomfortable, if every acknowledgement feels exaggerated, if you immediately explain away what you have accomplished, there may be an old agreement operating beneath your humility. You may have learned that being seen is dangerous, that confidence makes people uncomfortable, or that accepting your strength somehow makes you arrogant. Maybe someone once mocked your dreams, and now you instinctively hide them. Maybe you were praised only when you were useful, so you learned to measure your value by what you could do for others. Maybe people became threatened when you spoke with certainty, so you began softening every truth until even you could no longer hear your own voice. These patterns do not disappear simply because you have entered a new season. They must be recognized, questioned, and surrendered. So begin to notice the moment you minimize yourself. Notice when you say, "It was nothing," even though it cost you everything. Notice when you call your wisdom luck, your discipline pressure, and your healing distance. Notice when you apologize for taking up space in rooms you were prepared to enter. You do not need to become proud. You need to become honest. Humility is not pretending you have no gifts. Humility is admitting where those gifts came from and accepting the responsibility to use them well. When someone acknowledges your strength, do not rush to reject the blessing. You can simply say, "Thank you." You can allow the truth to stand without defending it. You can recognize that God receives glory not when you deny what He has done, but when you faithfully steward it. A lamp does not honor the one who lit it by hiding beneath a basket. It honors the light by allowing it to shine where it is needed. And once you begin honoring what God has developed in you, another shift takes place. You stop seeking permission from people who benefited from your self-doubt. You stop waiting for those who dismissed you to suddenly validate you. You realize that some people can only appreciate your strength after they no longer have access to control it. Their inability to celebrate your growth does not make your growth less real. Sometimes the confirmation you have been waiting for cannot come from the people who were invested in keeping you small. This is why certain relationships became uncomfortable when you started healing. They were not always connected to the version of you that was becoming whole. They were connected to your overextending, your silence, your constant availability, your willingness to carry what did not belong to you. They knew how to reach you through guilt, urgency, and emotional pressure. They became accustomed to you answering every call, solving every crisis, and explaining every boundary. When you changed, the arrangement changed, and not everyone was prepared to meet you in the new place. Do not automatically interpret that discomfort as proof that you have done something wrong. Sometimes the tension is simply the sound of an old pattern breaking. A door can close with noise when it has been forced open for too long. A chain can feel strange when it is removed because the body has grown accustomed to its weight. Healing can feel like betrayal to people who benefited from your wounds. But you are not betraying them by becoming obedient to God. That does not mean you have to become cold. It means you must learn the difference between love and self-abandonment. Jesus served people, but He did not entrust Himself to everyone. He withdrew from crowds. He protected quiet places. He knew that compassion without boundaries becomes exhaustion, and constant access does not equal genuine connection. He could love the multitude without allowing the multitude to determine every movement of his life. Boundaries are not walls built from hatred. They are gates placed with wisdom. A gate does not deny that a garden exists. It protects what is growing there. You're allowed to decide who can enter your inner world, how often they may access your energy, and what behavior you will no longer normalize. Forgiveness does not require unlimited access. Kindness does not require constant availability. Peace is not selfish simply because someone else prefers your chaos. So ask yourself honestly, who has access to your energy simply because they are familiar with your history? Who receives your wisdom but never respects your limits? Who praises your strength because it allows them to remain irresponsible? Who only calls when they need something but disappears when you need care? This is not an invitation to punish anyone. It is an invitation to stop confusing being needed with being loved. Stay with me, because what comes next is the part many people resist. Your strength may have opened doors, but your inability to rest may be keeping you from walking through the ones that matter. You have proven that you can survive difficult seasons. You have shown that you can rebuild, adapt, forgive, and continue. You have lived through storms that changed the shape of your life, yet somehow you kept a small flame alive within you. But survival is not the final expression of your purpose. There comes a time when God does not ask you to fight harder. He asks you to trust more deeply. He asks you to stop treating every peaceful moment like a trap. Some of you have become so familiar with crisis that peace feels suspicious. When nothing is going wrong, you start searching for what you missed. When someone treats you well, you wait for the hidden motive. When an opportunity arrives without chaos, you wonder whether it is too good to be true. Your mind has been trained to anticipate danger, but discernment and hypervigilance are not the same thing. Discernment gives you clarity. Fear gives you endless questions. Discernment can say, "This does not feel aligned," and then release the situation. Fear keeps revisiting the same evidence, building imaginary outcomes, and demanding certainty that no human being can possess. Discernment listens to wisdom. Fear listens to every possible disaster. One helps you walk carefully. The other keeps you standing at the doorway, convinced that movement itself is dangerous. Elijah experienced this tension after one of the greatest demonstrations of his life. He had stood boldly before opposition, but afterward he became exhausted and afraid. The prophet who had confronted kings found himself sitting beneath a tree, asking for his life to end. God did not shame him for being tired. He allowed him to sleep, fed him, and met him in a gentle voice. That moment reveals something important. Even powerful people need restoration. The presence of fatigue does not cancel your calling. It reveals your humanity. Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is sleep, eat, breathe, and allow your body to come out of survival mode. You are not failing because you need a quiet morning. You are not losing momentum because you take a day away from constant productivity. Jesus himself rested in a boat while the storm raged around him. Rest does not mean the mission has been abandoned. It means you trust that God remains present even when you are not actively managing every detail. You are not required to remain impressive every moment to remain chosen. You do not have to perform strength for heaven. You do not have to prove that you can carry everything alone. The same God who gave you endurance is also teaching you dependence. The next level of wisdom may not be knowing what to do. It may be knowing when to stop doing everything yourself. And once you make room for rest, you begin hearing what constant pressure had drowned out. You notice the desires you buried because they did not seem practical. You remember the creative ideas you abandoned because someone made you feel foolish for having them. You sense the direction you were afraid to follow because it required you to be visible in a new way. In stillness, the soul begins to speak in a language urgency cannot understand. Your strength was never meant to become a prison. It was meant to become a foundation. A foundation supports a house, but it is not meant to remain buried forever. You were not made only to withstand storms. You were made to build, to create, to love, to teach, to serve, and to experience the goodness of God beyond crisis. But before you move forward, you need to see another hidden layer. Sometimes people admire your wisdom because you are able to see what others refuse to face. You can read the atmosphere. You can sense inconsistency. You can recognize when words and intentions do not match. You notice the pause before someone answers, the change in their tone, the energy behind their smile. This sensitivity may have protected you many times. Yet this gift can become painful when you use it to remain emotionally distant from everyone. You may tell yourself that you are simply discerning, when in reality you are expecting betrayal before intimacy has had a chance to grow. You may call it wisdom, but beneath it may be the fear of being surprised again. There is a difference between seeing clearly and assuming the worst. One protects your peace, the other prevents you from receiving love. Not everyone who approaches you is coming to take from you. Not every open door hides a trap. Not every new connection will repeat an old wound. You must allow God to teach you how to discern without becoming guarded against goodness. A healed heart does not become naive, it becomes free. It can recognize danger without worshipping the memory of danger. It can honor the past without making the past the ruler of every new relationship. This requires action. Let trustworthy people know the real you in small, honest ways. Speak before resentment builds. Ask for help before you reach collapse. Allow someone to support you without immediately planning how you will repay them. Receive kindness without searching for the invoice attached to it. The woman with the alabaster jar did not offer Jesus something polished and safe. She offered what was precious, vulnerable, and deeply personal. Her devotion required her to be seen. And that brings us to a confrontation you may not expect. You have spent so much time protecting your heart from being mishandled that you may also be protecting it from being fully used. The same walls that kept pain out may now be keeping purpose in. A locked door can keep an enemy outside, but it can also prevent an invited friend from entering. Protection has a season, but eventually God may ask you to exchange guardedness for wise openness. You cannot step into a larger assignment while remaining loyal to the version of yourself that only feels safe in hiding. There are rooms that will require your voice. There are people who will need the wisdom you once thought was ordinary. There are decisions you will have to make without being universally understood. If you keep waiting until everyone approves, you will remain standing at the edge of an obedience that has already been confirmed within you. Moses had reasons to question his ability to speak. Jeremiah felt too young. Esther had every reason to consider the risk. Yet the pattern is clear. Divine assignments often confront the identity we have built around our limitations. God does not always remove the weakness before the calling begins. Sometimes He reveals that the weakness never had the authority you gave it. The question is not whether you feel inadequate. The question is whether you are willing to let God work through the places where you feel inadequate. So stop asking whether you feel ready enough to begin. Ask whether continued delay is becoming a form of disobedience. Preparation matters, but perfection can become a respectable disguise for fear. You do not need complete certainty to take the next faithful step. You need enough courage to move with the light you have. The path may not be illuminated all the way to the end, but grace often gives enough light for the next few feet. And just when you think the issue is fear, there is one more layer. The thing blocking you may not be fear of failure. It may be fear of what success will demand from you. Failure would allow you to remain familiar to everyone. Success may require new boundaries, new decisions, new levels of responsibility, and the grief of outgrowing environments you once prayed to enter. You may say you want elevation, but elevation changes your relationships with time, attention, and access. It forces you to stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. It requires you to become responsible not only for what you receive, but for what your obedience makes possible for others. This is the part no one wants to hear. You may be asking God for more while continuing to organize your life around less. You may be praying for expansion while protecting every habit that keeps you small. You may be asking for influence while refusing visibility. You may be asking for peace while repeatedly returning to conversations that disturb it. You may be praying for a new chapter while rereading the same old page every night. Your next breakthrough may not require a new opportunity. It may require a new agreement with yourself. It may require you to decide that your yes will mean yes, your no will mean no, and your future will no longer be negotiated by the fears of your past. You must decide that your life will no longer be governed by the fear of disappointing people. You must release the role of rescuer, mediator, and emotional caretaker when those roles keep you disconnected from your own assignment. Even Jesus allowed the rich young ruler to walk away. He did not chase him, manipulate him, or lower the truth to preserve the connection. Love can remain present without forcing someone to choose what they are not ready to choose. And here is the unexpected revelation. What has been blocking you is not that you lack strength. It is that you have made strength your identity. You became so proud of being the one who can handle anything that you have struggled to become the one who receives. You have celebrated your ability to give, but receiving requires trust. Giving allows you to remain in control. Receiving asks you to admit that you need grace, support, partnership, and sometimes a miracle that cannot be earned. It asks you to open your hands and believe that emptiness is not the same as abandonment, but you were never created only to be a source for everyone else. Rivers need to be replenished. Fields need rain. Even the earth lies still before it produces again. There is no shame in being restored. There is no weakness in being carried for a season. There is no loss of dignity in admitting that you cannot do this particular part alone. The wisdom you carry is not proven by how much pain you can tolerate. It is proven by what you are willing to release before pain becomes your identity. Your strength is not measured by how tightly you hold everything together. It is revealed by your willingness to place what you cannot control into the hands of God. Sometimes surrender is not giving up. Sometimes surrender is finally giving God room to do what your effort could never accomplish. So let this be the moment you stop performing invincibility. Let yourself be honest about what hurts. Let yourself grieve what did not become what you hoped. Let yourself receive correction without turning it into condemnation. Let yourself celebrate progress without waiting for permission. Let yourself become visible, not because you need admiration, but because hiding is no longer serving the purpose placed within you. The people who admire your strength may never know what it cost you to develop it, but God knows. Heaven saw every private decision, every quiet sacrifice, every time you chose integrity when compromise would have been easier. Nothing was wasted. The wisdom formed in you is not merely for your own protection. It is becoming a light for people who are still standing in places you have already survived. Your testimony will not always sound like a dramatic story. Sometimes it will look like the calm way you respond, the boundary you keep, the cycle you refuse to repeat, and the hope you carry into a room that has forgotten how to hope. You do not have to force them to recognize you. You do not have to announce every transformation. Keep walking, keep refining your character, keep choosing truth over approval, peace over performance, and obedience over fear. In time, what is authentic will speak louder than anything you could explain. Fruit does not argue with the tree. It simply appears when the roots have been faithfully tended. Place your hand on your heart and declare this with me. I release the need to prove my worth. I release the belief that I must carry everything alone. I honor the strength God has built in me, and I welcome the grace that restores me. I will not confuse fear with wisdom or exhaustion with purpose. I give myself permission to be seen, supported, and renewed. I step forward with discernment, courage, and peace. I trust that what is meant for me will not require me to abandon myself, and I choose to become the person heaven has been forming in the hidden place. If this message reached something real in you, do not keep it only as a feeling. Write one honest sentence in the comments about what you are releasing or what you are finally ready to receive. Let your words become an agreement with your next season, and if you want to continue walking through messages like this, stay connected. The transformation is not beginning someday, it is happening in the choices you make now.